Hi everyone! If you didn't know me already, my name is Anna and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing for you guys the new Fenty Beauty face products. In this video I'm going to be testing out their new Pro Filter concealers and their new Pro Filter setting powders. So if you're curious on seeing how these products worked for me, then keep on watching. So for the sake of this video I went ahead and already dipped my base, so I applied some primer, foundation and cream contour. For the foundation I used the Yves Saint Laurent All Hours foundation in the shade BR10. I was contemplating whether or not I should use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter foundation because it goes with the rest of the products. But since that is already not a foundation which I really like, I have normal to dry skin and the foundation just doesn't work for me. I thought that it would be best to use one of my favorite foundations. For the sake of this video I picked up two shades. I picked up the shade 110 and 100. For foundation I used the shade 110, but I wasn't sure if the shade 110 would be light enough for me because I like my concealers to be really brightening. But we're just going to be starting off with the shade 110 and see if that one will work. So I'm just applying some underneath the eye. And because I don't know how this product is going to be reacting to my skin, if it is going to be drying down, I'm just going to go ahead and already blend this one without putting it underneath my other eye. Because if it would dry down, it would be such a hard time to blend it out. So first impression, the shade is really pretty. It is definitely lighter than the foundation color. And as you can see, it also is covering up the redness and the purple areas underneath my eyes perfectly. So now I'm just taking the tip of my beauty blender and I'm going into that inner corner to start blending my under eye. Okay, so first impression, this is looking unreal. I really like the color of it. It has a really brightening effect and it gives a lot of dimension to the face. I am going to be applying a bit more here on my nose and just right here on my cheekbone. And for that I am once again picking up the shade 110. And this is just a tip for everyone. If you're getting a new concealer and you're trying it out for the first time, really be careful with the product because you don't know how it is going to be reacting to your skin, if it is going to be drying down. And maybe if you apply too much you wouldn't like the product, but if you would just work in steps and build it up to see how the product will perform, you might like it a bit more. So my under eye is looking extremely pretty right now, just for the sake of me also getting the shade 100. I'm going to be applying this underneath my eye just a tiny bit, just to brighten up the under eye even more. So looking back right now, the shade 100 definitely wasn't necessary for me. The shade 110 is already brightening enough for me. So keep that in mind if you're going to be picking up one yourself. You don't really need a lighter shade than your foundation, in my opinion. And now I'm just going to be repeating the same steps on the other eye. So looking at the consistency of this concealer, I can definitely say that it is a thicker concealer. It wouldn't really be comparable as like a Shape Tape or a Cover FX Power Play concealer. It is more into that category of a Huda Beauty concealer, which I really don't like. It gets in my lines like crazy. This product isn't doing that so far. And I was on this side just picking up a bit more of that 100 shade to keep my face kind of more balanced. I can definitely see on my left eye I have some more texture that is clinging onto that just a tiny bit. So I think that it will be a good time now to start setting the concealer. So as for the powders, I also picked up two shades. I picked up the shade Butter and the shade Lavender, just because I didn't know which one would work the best for my fair skin tone. Looking at both of the powders, the lilac powder, which is the lightest one, has some type of like purpley undertones. It is also called Lavender, so I can definitely see some lilac tones in the setting powder, which I'm not too thrilled about because I don't want to have like a purple cast underneath my eyes. I want it just to be a straight white up powder and just be super brightening and not have any like weird undertones to it. And then this is the shade Butter, which definitely has some more yellow undertones to it. And now comparing Butter to the Laura Mercier powder, which I'm not using anymore because I got so many comments from people telling me that my under eyes were looking too yellow. You can definitely see that the Laura Mercier is a bit more yellow and darker when compared to the Fenty one. So maybe it could still work, but it definitely has yellow undertones. So looking here into the cap, I hope it also picks it up on camera, but in person I can definitely see lilac undertones. I get why the shade is called lavender, honestly. So I'm really curious to see how this one will perform. I normally like to have a more white powder, like the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder, which is just straight up white, and it works really well for my fair skin tone. But Fenty probably thought about it, so I think that I'm just going to be trying out both. So because I have been talking like for the past couple of minutes, the concealer has started to set more in my lines. So before setting it with powder, I'm just going over it again with my beauty blender just to get rid of any creasing. I can definitely now see that it has started to settle into my lines, which I don't really have that problem when working with other concealers like the Shape Tape and Power Play by Cover FX. So that is something which I am kind of worried about, and it's also not blending out the easiest. So yeah, I can't really get rid of it right now. I normally never have that problem when I don't set my under eyes immediately, so that is kind of a bummer. Maybe it is because I have more drier textured skin that is more clinging onto it than other concealers do. But now I'm just taking up some of that lavender setting powder and I'm putting it underneath my eye. Oh, it smells really good. That is nice. And now taking up the shade Butter and applying that underneath my other eye, and that is definitely yellower. Okay, so based on the shades of the setting powder, I am not a fan of it. I think that this one has so many purple undertones, which is like the color I am trying to get rid of underneath my eyes. And that one is definitely too yellow. So I hope when dusting it off, it doesn't leave behind like any pigment and it just sets your under eyes. But based off these colors, I am not really the biggest fan of the setting powders. Now normally I would let my bake sit for about 5 minutes, but since the concealer has already started grabbing onto my texture underneath my eyes, I'm not going to be leaving on my bake for too long, because baking also emphasizes the texture once again underneath your eyes. So I'm just going to be dusting this off. Yeah. So based on the colors underneath my eyes, I can definitely see a huge difference between both sides. I also hope that it's picking up on camera. This shade definitely has like some weird type of purple cast to it. It is really hard to describe, but yeah, I'm not really a fan of it. I would much rather be using like that Huda Beauty setting powder. And this side is just giving me like huge flashbacks to everyone telling me that my face is too orange. And now just grabbing a mirror and just looking a bit closer, I can definitely see texture underneath my eyes. I'm just going to be zooming you in a bit more on my under eyes so you can see what I am talking about with like the emphasized texture. So here you can see, and now looking up, you can definitely see that it is like settled into those two creases which I have. And underneath this eye I have some more texture, and looking up you can definitely see it. So just to see what is going to be happening to the texture underneath my eyes, if it is going to be staying like this, which I can live with, but it's not the best, and especially like for the price points of these products. These are not drugstore, these are high-end products, and I don't want under eyes like this from high-end products, because then I have much more products which are at the same price point or even underneath that, which work a lot better. So I'm just going to be finishing off my makeup and then I will be back with my final thoughts. So I just applied the rest of my makeup, some brow mascara and a little lip. Now looking up close in my little mirror, I can definitely see that the texture has become worse. The product is sticking into my lines especially, and it is just emphasizing the texture underneath my eyes like crazy. Now, going on their website, the concealer is actually $26, which is $1 underneath Shape Tape. So that is kind of like the price range which we are in. And this concealer actually promised to be a creamy longwear crease proof liquid concealer. I only have creasing, that delivers light as air, medium to full coverage. I can definitely say how it feels on my skin, that it is a heavy, thick consistency and not light as air, and medium to full coverage in a groundbreaking range of 50 easy to shop soft matte shades. I think that that is the whole problem with me in this concealer, that it is a matte concealer. Because I have normal skin and it tends to become a bit drier when it is becoming winter, I have some texture on my skin like I think every normal human being does, but with matte products the problem is that they cling onto drier patches, which I am definitely noticing here underneath my eyes. So unfortunately I can't recommend this concealer. I really like their shade range and everything, their packaging is really pretty, but the creasing which I have underneath my eyes, I just can't brush that away or anything. I have other concealers for the same price which work so much better, so unfortunately the Pro Filt'r concealer isn't it for me. Now as for the powders, looking on their website, these are $32 each. Once again, high-end pricing. What they promise you is a super fine, lightweight, loose setting powder curated in 8 sheer shades to perfect and extend makeup wear that filtered photo ready finish in lock. As for the powder, it is not doing the best for my face right now, but I don't know if that could be contributed to also the concealer which is underneath it, which is already clinging onto the texture. So as for like a total final verdict of like the loose setting powders, I would have to use it also with a different concealer which doesn't cling onto texture like this one does. As for the shades, I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I think that the Butter shade, while it is not as heavily yellow as a Laura Mercier, it does have very strong yellow undertones, which personally isn't what I am looking for in a setting powder. And while they did come out with a powder which is almost white, the lavender like undertones to the powder just aren't working for me. I feel like my under eye looks very off and very weird, and it just has like a purple cast over it, which is the purple which I wanted to get rid of, girl. I want to get rid of like those circles underneath my eyes which are purple and greenish and all of the shades which I don't want on my face. So as for that, the performance, I would have to test it even more and let you guys know in the comments. So I will pin like a top comment letting you guys know how it would have worked with like Shape Tape, which is like the most used concealer I think in the world. To give a final verdict about the working of this powder. It does feel soft underneath my eyes. It doesn't feel very dry even though it is clinging onto texture. So it still has a chance. So don't be too heavy on the setting powders yet. But as for the shades, this is not for me. So as for like these products, I'm sad. I'm sad they didn't work for me. I will try other ways in trying to make this product work throughout the next couple of days, and like maybe in the summer when I get more oilier skin they will work. So that is something which we will have to wait and see. If you have dry skin and these products are working for you, girl, keep using them. All power to you. Please let me know how you can make these ones work, because I apparently can't. And if you have oilier skin, I think that these products will work good for you. I don't have oily skin, so I can't say that with 100% certainty. But my friend Coco, who has oily skin, also did a review on this one. Didn't watch hers because I didn't want to be biased or anything. So I will link that one of hers down below. So maybe it does work for oily skin. I don't know. But with all of that being done and said, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was kind of negative and nothing really worked and I have severe creasing underneath my eyes. It was all good and fun and just a review. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. That would be a huge help to me. Give this video a thumbs up and comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!